This is definitely the most terrifying butcher I've ever seen. She was born with the ability to easily cut down a man's head, and she has a very big appetite. Every meal, I had to eat a 2-meter-long human pancake, and I was drooling. The video began with a group of fearless students attending Xia Lingying in the forest. It is said that a fierce butcher lives in this forest. After arriving at the destination, the driver turned around and met 2 beautiful girls to play together. There was a lot of movement in the car, and the whole car was shaking. This scene is simply infuriating. The girls in the car saw the butcher appear, and before they could react, their heads broke and flew out. Next, it's the driver's turn. The butcher gave a knife to Lingafan. Then the butcher came to the inn. At this time, the owner of the inn, due to the excessive longing for his dead wife, actually regarded the butcher as his wife, and tightly buried his head in the chest of the butcher. The butcher, a steel-hearted man, hated the close relationship between men like this. He cut off his head in one fell swoop. Fatty is wandering in the woods with snacks, luckily seeing 2 girls swimming by the river. Looking at his satisfied expression, it can be seen that the picture should be a little good. Suddenly the sound behind the sound disturbed Fatty's mood. He turned his head and looked at the number of people who were hit directly, and it was a mess. A couple is doing shameless things under the light of the day. This simply does not put the butcher in the eye. After the end of the battle, the man is about to faint, but the butcher is stuck in his neck. The girlfriend sees that the man has not returned in time. Out of worry, a bloody head fell under his feet. The woman suddenly moved. The butcher held him, kneading the woman into a meatball. Then cover it with a pancake that is close to 2 meters. When the butcher wants to hide, the woman's crying wolf affects the butcher's appetite, and the woman is thrown to the tree in a fit of anger. I have never seen such a cruel butcher. In order to eat a bite of a person's meat shoulder, he made the woman knead into a meatball like kneading a meat pie, cover it with a pancake that is close to 2 meters, then eat it deliciously. A person can't eat a meat pancake, so the butcher stares at the police officer. The woman wants to eat the police officer. How can it be so easy? The woman sees the butcher throw a pistol at him and fire bullets at him. When the butcher fell to the ground, there was no reaction. He was ready to call the police, but the butcher flew an axe at him. In front of the butcher, step by step, the woman's police officer threw the things on the table towards him. This is a small fight for the butcher. The woman's police officer poured a glass of drink on him. The butcher was angry all the time, and then he couldn't run out of pain. Soon the butcher recovered his condition, and he was on the ground of a man and a woman. He hit the wall with a man's strength. 2 girls were suddenly scared and rushed out of the house, leaving the man to accept the butcher's greeting. 2 girls kept running. It is unknown that the butcher had already set a trap in the forest. 1 girl was dropped. The other girl was scared to death, and the butcher ran to the girl. The butcher came in front of the girl. He stabbed his head with a water dragon's head. In a moment his head was flowing from the water dragon's head. The other girl could not escape the butcher's claw at last. She was beaten into flesh by the man. The students at the butcher's cave were playing a food war. This was a waste of food. He urged them to leave the forest. He even told the story of the terror butcher. But the instructor at the butcher's house thought that the doctor was messing around. They cursed him and kicked him out. The woman is heavily injured. The director stopped the doctor's car and found out that the butcher was afraid Tongjiang's secret to tell him that everyone is having breakfast the next day. The instructor found that the pancake in front of him was a man's face, and the man was enjoying his breakfast but was scared to find that the pancake in his hand was a man's face and a fat man's face. At this time the butcher suddenly came in and he picked up an axe and hit you in the head the moment he fell to death. Where have you ever seen such a big scene? I was scared to death, and the selfish instructor was thinking about his own life and completely abandoned his responsibility to protect the student's safety. And the butcher quickly opened the murder instructor hid in the kitchen, and he could not move even if the students begged him to do so, and he was killed by the butcher, and the butcher was about to kill him in the kitchen. Several people immediately escaped from the back door, but unfortunately the hair roll was so that everyone could make time for it, that they were betrayed by the butcher and hated the Northwest, and they ran to them to meet their companions, but found that he had already been pushed into 2 halves. And then the doctor appeared to tell the 2 of them how to kill the butcher, and that they only needed a sugarcane, so the 3 of them looked for the butcher's owner. At this time the butcher pointed at the instructor and cut him with an iron sling. And the 2 of them soon found the butcher's nest, and he just saw him coming out of the furnace, and the girl was ready to throw the sugarcane at the butcher, but he stabbed his hand on the wall with an axe, and he heard a few fingers like this, and the doctor appeared in time, and the butcher was knocked down by a few sprays in a row, and then the doctor took out a bag of sugarcane, but found that he could not tear the package. And the butcher thought that this was not a joke, and he just hit the doctor with a punch, and the girl picked up the spray on the ground and rushed up, but the butcher threw it into the house, which is the action that made the girl find the existence of the sugarcane, and she put her whole body into the sugarcane. In the end, the 3 of them and the female police officer took the windmill and left this terrifying forest.